Welcome back to another week of foal watching. If this all isn't obvious enough, it's freaking cold, which means, of course, my mares are going to make really, really bad life decisions because why wouldn't they, you know? Anyway, over the weekend, we did have a baby, so let's be really excited for my weekend night watchman because obviously my weekend night watchman is only here 2 nights. And last year, bless their soul, they had to wait an entire month for their first baby. Like they were here for several weeks and there was just no baby, no baby. There was a whole bunch that was like really close, and then like of course, like as soon as they get back, or as soon as they leave, they were born. So it was like constantly like just missed out last year. This time, they only had to wait for one round before they got their first kid. Let's see. Oh goodness, we are awake. Perfect. Over the weekend, we had a volatile filly. Didn't we? She's pretty decent size. I mean, look at all that bone, huh? Yeah. Are you gonna let me in? She goes, I don't know, man. Mama's been a little overprotective about this kid. I'm not gonna lie, she was not really on my radar of ones to pop over the weekend. I was pretty convinced if anyone was gonna go, it was gonna be the gift box. She's kind of been on my radar. She was one that I had actually started on meds because I was a little concerned that maybe she had an infection or something. Don't do it. You're fine. She's been a little overprotective. Anyway, I would like to have an escape route, which is the door that you are currently blocking. Oh, she smells my surprise. Anyway, so, but everything was fine. So it just seems like Mama is the type to want to foal a little bit earlier than I would like her to. So horses are pregnant for 11 months and they're technically okay to foal, like 10 days before their due date. It's when you hit that 14-day mark where you start kind of going, I prefer you not to do that, She was technically due in about a week, so she was a little early, but nothing too crazy. Mama, where are you going? She's like, I want to be free. She goes, I smell something. You do smell something. Well, you have your own kid. Yes, you do. Yeah, oh, little baby. Baby, you're so cute. Anyway, she's obviously smelling around for something because, in all honesty, because it was so freaking cold, and when I first came in tonight, I didn't really think anything was going to happen. I thought if we had a baby, it was going to be the gift box, because the gift box, someone just did something. Because the gift box was acting a little uncomfortable earlier, and so I was like, well, if anyone's going to foal, it's going to be her. I will say, her boob has definitely filled out considerably, which is what I've been waiting for. But she's not quite there yet, but good Lord, she looks huge. Ironically, she did the exact same thing that this mare did down here. So it was quiet all night tonight. And then I always go feed the top barn around 5 o'clock. And obviously, it's freaking cold. It is currently -4 degrees. How rude. So I'd go to start my truck, right? Start my truck. And every time I go to start my truck before I go feed, I always make sure to do several laps. And then I go start my truck. And then I continue to do several more laps just because sometimes they like to be a little sneaky, right? And if they're going to be sneaky, it's going to be when I go feed the other barn. So conveniently, as I was, pacing, all of a sudden, with absolutely zero warning, she lays down. And I go and peek. I was like, it's a weird time for you to be laying down. And then I hear it. And sure enough, she broke water. And surprise! So we had an Elite Power filly probably like an hour or so ago. Again, freaking cold. Worst possible timing for you to do this, ma'am. You could have waited till Thursday. Thursday's supposed to be warmer, but no. Why would we do that? Anyway, you're fine, Mama. She was a first-time mama. I know. You're gonna let me down. Oh, good girl. Anyway, she's a first-time mama. Hey, we are fresh out of uterus. Yes, we are. Yeah. I know. Oh, I've just been waiting for her to dry. Obviously, she had the towel on top of her, but she keeps wiggling, and so the towel keeps falling off. But she's mostly dry, so as soon as she stands up, I'll put a blanket on her. But I try not to put a blanket on before they stand up, just because I find I've had like 1 or 2 mares that like I put the blanket on first, and they're like, oh my god, what is this? And so I just find that it's a little bit safer and everything to put the blanket on once they stand up. Oh goodness. I know it's so cold. You made such a bad decision. You made such a bad decision. You couldn't have pulled off just a couple of days. Yeah, but so far, out of the 3 babies we've had, all 3 have been fillies, and they've all been chestnut fillies with blazes. So I feel like that's about sums up the theme going into this year. Yeah, she didn't freaking wax up. She never walked. She didn't get warm. She did nothing. She just lay down and broke water. I was like, that's so incredibly rude, man. So rude. Honestly, though, that's half the reason. Like, obviously, we're here at night for a lot of reasons. Some of it is just to keep an eye on them, just because, you know, sometimes they might lay down, get casted, or someone needs a refill of water, or this or that. And honestly, sometimes it's just for that. Sometimes they're just sneaky. Yeah, and also it's just good to keep an eye on them in general. Anyway, I'm going to wait for this kid to get up and start nursing. And my voice is, good lord, my voice is going in and out like crazy. Anyway, I checked everyone else. Everyone else, like I said, was fairly quiet for the evening, minus the cross traffic. She was a little uncomfortable kind of earlier in the evening. But I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we have more babies this week, purely because the temperature is supposed to be just freaking ridiculous. I think technically right now it's like 2 degrees or something, but like with all the wind chill and the humidity and everything, it's -4. And that's pretty much the entire vibe for this week. I think tomorrow, like the high for the night is going to be 0. And so that means with the humidity and everything, it's going to be like -9. And then the next day, it's supposed to be like -2 as the low. So, you know, it's going to suck. It's going to be miserable. And then on Thursday, I think it's Thursday. I think it's supposed to, the temperature is supposed to start going back up, and we're going to be in the 30s again. And so obviously anytime the freaking weather goes up and down and does crazy little things, it tends to get these ladies doing things that they're supposed to be doing. But I prefer them not to when it's freaking cold. Why can't we wait till Thursday when it's warm? You know, logic. You would think, but gosh, no. Anyway, well, bless your soul. I guess we're gonna get you ready. It is Tuesday evening. Listen, if we have a baby tonight, I'm going to be so mad. There's a chance we're going to have a baby tonight, but I'll be so mad if we do. It is currently feeling like, okay, according to my weather app, it is like 8 degrees. But you know how it says, like, it feels like, it says it feels like -4. The low tonight is supposed to be -5, which means it's going to feel like -15 probably by the time it's all said and done. I'm not looking forward to that. It hurts outside right now. It is miserable. Listen, people are always like, oh, you all want January babies, right? It's close to... No, I don't know where that stigma comes from. I know where it comes from. Obviously, where horses, their birthday is January 1st, like no matter what. People like to think, oh, you like to have their birthdays close to January 1st because, you know, no, that's bullshit. People will not complain about February, March, April, May babies. They kind of complain a little bit more like, or not really complain, but they'll be like, oh, it's a late May baby or early June baby is typically when people kind of like start drawing lines. Realistically, we don't care when, like, if it was a January baby or a March baby. Personal opinion, as someone who freaking foals them out and breeds them and everything, that January, like, I don't know, again, I don't know why the whole January thing is a thing. I hate it. If I have the chance to skip a heat on a mare so I don't have to have a January baby and I can have a February baby instead, I will do it. I hate January because of the weather like this. It has been freaking nothing but ice and snow for 2.5 weeks. Yeah, about 2.5 weeks. The freaking temperature has been up, down, and it's freezing. And a lot of that, it affects the babies when they mature, obviously, because now when they're born, they don't necessarily get to go outside all the time because it's freaking ice skating rain. So, I mean, they're going outside, but they're not going to go outside for the full, 6 to 12 hours that we would do with a baby that's born in, March or April, right? Because of weather. And also, it's just cold and miserable, and you don't have the nutrients from the grass coming up, and it's just, freaking hate it. I hate January babies. I hate January. I hate winter. Winter is evil. Freaking, I don't know, everyone who's like, oh, I love winter, never freaking works outside. I'm heavily convinced. Anyway, no one has wax. Every time, as soon as I step out, it's the very first thing I do is I just listen to see if anything sketchy is happening, and that will tell me which direction to go first, if I need to take a left or a right first. If no one is making sketchy sounds, then I typically go the direction I think that, if there's someone I'm waiting for. Anyway, as of right now, no one has any wax, but obviously the last 2 mares haven't produced any wax, so it's kind of like, who really cares at this point? If we're gonna have a kid, the cross traffic was uncomfortable yesterday, so she's a potential. As of right now, and granted, it very much could just be the weather because it is so weird and miserable. Goodness. I have a Gunite and an Olympiad who are first timers. They've been acting uncomfortable. The one that I have a feeling is going to pop on me tonight is this freaking Nashville. She's been very uncomfortable. Normally she's pretty quiet and content, and she's been uncomfortable. Not only that, I feel how many babies have I had with you? I think me and her have had 2 babies together. Both of those times that she foaled, it was really freaking cold like this. So I have a feeling she's gonna freaking do me dirty and foal when it's freaking negative whatever degrees. Oh, why can't we wait till tomorrow? Tomorrow I think it's supposed to be up at least in the teens, which is doable. Literally last night, that poor baby, the baby who was born last night, obviously they come out wet, and so you're doing your best to dry them as quickly as you can, and we go through multiple towels when the weather is like this to get them dry because it's so cold. The water freezes right away, and so I was like, every time I wipe them down and rub them and get more off, and then as soon as I go get another towel to do them again, you have little icicle beards because it was that cold that quick. It's miserable. So I would like for us not to have to do that again, if we please. Besides that, we also have this Uncle Mo over here who got really excited that her neighbor foaled, and she's pretty full too, so I wouldn't be surprised if she decides to move along and pop over the next couple days. There's our current victim, friggin' foaled. Then was friggin' negative degrees. Ugh, anyway, I'm gonna go hide, I guess, and pray that no one decides to foal tonight and everyone crosses their legs and waits another day. But I know super realistically there's a pretty good chance we're going to have a kid tonight just because it is cold and miserable, and you can't tell them what to do. They just do whatever they need to on their own time, and they are always like, when it's the most inconvenient time is the best time. Anyone who has horses, that's the story of your life. I'm not gonna lie, I was so busy editing other YouTube videos, I completely almost forgot to film tonight. It is Thursday morning. We did not have a baby last night, and in all honesty, I'm kind of glad because obviously the night before it was freaking negative 15 degrees, which is awful. And tonight it was warmer. I think the low ended up being 6 degrees, so it's better than negative 15. But I told all my girls, I was like, listen, tomorrow and the day after, it's supposed to be better. It's supposed to be the 20s. I was like, let's cross our legs one more day and wait till then, because obviously I would rather foal when it's 20 degrees rather than 6 degrees. Maybe I'm alone in that thought process, as some of these ladies seem to disagree with me. It is what it is. It's fine. Anyway, so everyone was pretty quiet tonight. No one really did a whole lot of changes or anything. As of right now, though, I wouldn't be surprised if we do have 1 or 2 more babies before the end of the week, whether it be before I leave or if they're going to wait till a weekend shift, which is definitely a possibility. This Nashville is one that I definitely wouldn't be overly surprised with. She kind of came really fast, and then I was like sitting there thinking about it, because I've only ever delivered like 2 of her babies, so like I don't really I know her. Like she's always been really simple, but like I've been trying to think back, because she's always like one of the very first mares that we foaled out, and I don't remember how like her boob progression was, but she came really fast, and so I'm like, okay, so I'm expecting her to pop pretty much any day at this point. Obviously we have the cross traffic, who's kind of been slowly coming along, and then we do have the Olympiad and the Gunite, who they're first timers, and in my opinion they could use a little more. But obviously I've had some first timers here recently that were like, haha, surprise, and I'm like, rude. And then also the one that kind of came pretty quickly as well, which isn't necessarily a surprise considering her neighbor is the one who popped a kid, and I had a feeling, I was like, I bet you now that her neighbor foaled, she's gonna kind of come along a little fast. And sure enough, she's been coming in pretty quickly. Goodness, it's this Uncle Mo. Actually, she does not have wax right now, but off of just gut feeling, off of vibes, I wouldn't be surprised if she has wax within the next 48 hours. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm kind of glad we didn't have baby last night, because it was better than the night before. Okay, the night before I was paranoid, because obviously it was freaking -15, and they love to foal when it's most inconvenient, and so I was just paranoid, and I was constantly like having to break buckets, and literally no matter what I did, I could not keep up with the fact that the water buckets kept freezing, and so I was just paranoid all the night before. And tonight I was like, I'd rather do it tonight when it's 6 degrees and -5, but I am glad that they decided to hold off for another night. Hopefully they're going to wait till this weather is a little bit warmer. Anyway, I guess we're going to see what's going to happen tomorrow. It is now Friday morning. Nothing necessarily happened last night. Everyone was pretty quiet, pretty chill. That being said, guess who finally has like more proper-ish looking wax? Okay, I say that. Like, it's also still not like itty teeny tiny itty bitty, but it's there. I like earlier we kept talking about it, like, oh, we think she's got a little bit of wax, and like it was kind of there, but like, I don't know, I feel like Day Shift thought we were hallucinating or dramatic, but I mean, it was, I don't know. Anyway, she actually has wax now, kind of, sort of. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still itty bitty. I wonder if you can see it without a flashlight. Oh, hold on. Kind of, not really, sort of. But she's got the tiniest bit of wax on both nipples. So, we have made some progress on this cross traffic. But realistically, everyone's been pretty quiet and tame. Oh my gosh, I hate this door. But yeah, she's kind of the only one who has anything. I had mentioned before that the Nashville had been uncomfortable a couple days ago. She's been relatively quiet since, although today or last night I noticed like every time I walked by, she would pin her ears at me, which is very not normal of her. So she was a little grumpier than normal. Realistically, I kind of think they're just stacking up on us, which is totally fine. I'm glad they at least waited until the weather was a little bit warmer. The Uncle Mo over there did not lay down at all last night, which was a little bit abnormal of her. Normally she's a really big sleeper. She lays down and sleeps a lot. She was uncomfortable, and well, not uncomfortable, she's grumpy. She's got the tiniest, littlest, ittiest bit of wax. And these two are, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they lay down and pop just because they're first timers and they kind of have enough to validate that thought. But, who knows? Anyway, I guess we're going to see. I still have a feeling we're going to at least have one before the weekend, which I know only gives us one more night. But realistically, I definitely think that weekend shift has a really good chance of having another kid. So I guess we're going to hold off and see. who they decide to bless a kid with. Alright, it is Friday night. It's the final night of the week. I'm going to be real. I wouldn't be surprised if we have 1 or 2 kids tonight, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they decide to hold on a little bit longer. This Nashville is definitely still up for consideration. She's been kind of uncomfortable and just, generally a little bit of obnoxious. Not really obnoxious. She's just been uncomfortable. Ugh. This Olympiad, hi mama, day shift, texted me and they're like, she's got wax. Did she have wax last night? I'm like, no, she did not. And I don't know if I'll be able to show you without the flashlight. No, hold on 1 second. But yeah, she's got some wax under there. Now granted, her boob could definitely stand to fill out quite a bit more. But she's a first timer, and sometimes first timers, they just never really get very big anyway. She's not the only one though. We also have the cross traffic, who's got quite a bit of wax now. So really, I think our best chances are going to be with this cross traffic. Oh goodness. Or the Olympiad. Oh, or the Nashville. I wouldn't be surprised if the Uncle Mo down that corner also decides to do something, but realistically, I think these 3 are our next targets. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to braid some tails and sit back, I guess, and wait to see which one of these lovely ladies decides to go first. I have a feeling it might be her. She's kind of been a little shifty, but like, ghetto. Shifty in a way that like, maybe I'm just paranoid because I am. Or who knows? We'll figure it out. It is now Saturday morning. To be honest, I'm actually really surprised we didn't have a kid tonight because it was chaotic. Like, it was busy. Starting with, we have the Sandin. I've only ever talked about her once because she shipped in, and like her due date is like officially, I think, yesterday. But reality, I took one look at her. I was like, she's gonna be something that goes 2-3 weeks past her due date. I guess baby was like moving or grooving or something. I don't really know. But she was in that stall, and we had to move her to this stall because she freaking went to roll at a point and got herself kind of stuck. Yeah, well, granted, she got herself unstuck very well, but she broke the freaking side. And I couldn't get the door open. And so, I tried to get the door open. It was a whole thing. And it took 2 of us to get the freaking door pried off the thing. And we had to move her stalls because obviously I needed to be able to get in and out throughout the night. So, that was the thing. As soon as she did that, though, she settled down. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, rude. So rude. Anyway, if we remember the Uncle Mo, I talked about the Uncle Mo potentially having wax over the next 48 hours. She has wax now. She's also a mare that lays down and sleeps a lot. And she has not laid down to take a nap in about 2 days. So that's telling me that she's been uncomfortable enough that she's not doing her regular routine. She now has wax. I expect a baby relatively soon. Who else was there? Freaking, I'm telling you. Oh, goodness, mama. And then all the way in this far corner. I'm freaking running back and forth all night long because they all had me on my toes. Just one thing after another. And actually, I even set up my stuff, right? I was prepared. The Nashville. Listen, this is the sweetest angel's baby mare ever. She's such a doll. So sweet. Obviously, she's making angry faces. This is very not normal for her. She does not have any wax at the moment, but she's never been a mare that develops a big bag. She typically doesn't develop wax, so that's not necessarily a surprise. So, honestly, I'm really surprised she hasn't foaled yet. I was kind of expecting her to go for sure tonight, just because she's been very uncomfortable the past 2 days, 3 days. I don't know what the date is. She's been uncomfortable, so I'm really surprised that she didn't go. The Olympiad, like I pointed out earlier, she now has wax. Her boob isn't really that full compared to the cross traffic, but she's also a first timer, and obviously boobs are different. And when it's your first one, they're not typically going to do the same thing as when you have had 3 kids before, right? Right, phenomenal. Anyway, she is a mare that sleeps all freaking night long. Legitimately, she will pick a spot, lay down, take a nap, gets up, has a little snack, little water break, picks a new spot to lay down, take a nap. She sleeps all night long. She only laid down once last night. Will you please quit cribbing? She's like, no. Anyway, she only laid down and slept once last night, which is very, very, very not normal for her. And she was also like minorly shifty and uncomfortable. She was mainly kind of hanging out over here, and then occasionally she would randomly go and like dig a little bit and then just go back to her corner. So, because she's a first timer, I wouldn't be surprised if she goes tomorrow over the weekend. I also wouldn't be surprised if she holds off for a whole another week. It is what it is. To add to it, her neighbor, the gunite. Could she have just been uncomfortable because her neighbor was uncomfortable? Yeah, sure, that's definitely a potential. But she was also uncomfortable last night. Her boob is getting there. She still does not have any wax. And then, last but not least, the cross traffic. She still has wax. Her boob still is pretty full. And she was a little shifty last night. She's not compared to like the Olympiad. I talk about the Olympiad is a bit as a mare who's a really big sleeper. Like she lays down, sleeps more than half the night. She doesn't. She typically stays standing. She likes to sleep outside rather than inside. So it's not necessarily uncommon to see her standing. That being said, she was shifty. Like she kind of just, normally she hangs out in her one corner. And last night she kind of shifted a little over here, shifted a little over there, shifted a little over there. So yeah, overall, I had a lot of things moving and grooving, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't have a kid, to be honest. Honestly, it's technically like it just turned 6 o'clock. I think if anyone's going to surprise me with a last minute baby before 7, it would be her, just because, surprise, first time mamas, you never know with them. Some of them are really, really dramatic with it, and others, they give you no warning. It is what it is. But honestly, at this point, I'll be very, very surprised if weekend shift does not have 1 to 2 babies. I think it's just a matter of which one is it gonna be. But yeah, I'll be surprised if all if all 4 go over the weekend. I think it's just gonna be 1 or 2. But who knows? Maybe they just really didn't want me to. It's because I was greedy. Is really probably what happened. Remember how earlier this week, after we had the first 2 babies, I was like, I hope no one folds because it's gonna be negative 15 degrees, and no one fold. And then the next day, I was like, I kind of hope no one folds again because it's gonna be 6 degrees, and no one fold. So it was probably that. I was greedy. I was like, no one do nothing. Wait till it's warmer, and they waited till it's warmer. It is what it is. Anyway, yeah, what are you doing? She's a brat. This is the volatile. She's an absolute chestnut filly. Yes, you are. She bullies her mom all night long. I walk by and I can see her like bouncing around the stall. And she'll spin and kick mom, and I'm just like, girl, kick her back. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of it at this point. I think I am sure we're gonna have some catch up with some of these kids later, or next week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, until next time.